So here's an excellent question, very valid question, concern. Why even bother investing or participating in affordable or subsidized housing? I get this question all the time, and I think oftentimes it's rhetorical. But I get, Stephen, why do I need to do this? Why would I ever consider participating in these programs where the renters may be lacking finances, credit, employment, all stuff? Why deal with the headache? Certainly here in California, definitely LA County, we are quickly becoming heavily a renter society as the price of purchasing homes just keeps skyrocketing, interest rates, all that craziness here in 2024. Why though? Why should I even go this route? I've been fine renting to students. I've been fine renting to doctors and nurses. I do Airbnb, all that good stuff. Why even deal with this? Well, a lot of our clients would certainly say that during the pandemic, we saw a massive spike, and this is actually where our business model, the subsidized housing model, got perfected, was during the pandemic. Because what happened? Well, people just stopped paying rent. People couldn't pay rent, or just decided, many couldn't, many lost the ability to pay rent. But let's face it, many people just took advantage, certainly here in Los Angeles and California, of the government-imposed restrictions on landlords and just decided, I'm not paying rent. Why should I do that? We had one particular developer client who overnight half their portfolio, 50%, just stopped paying rent. Those were tenants who were market rent tenants. Just decided. Some were living in affordable. We had a client who had affordable housing developments. These are those developments where the asset itself had a covenant to be affordable. And the people who were living there were affordable in that they were low income, of a certain percentage below the area median income, but they didn't have a housing subsidy. It wasn't subsidized housing. They didn't have a subsidy helping them. They just paid a reduced rent because the asset, the real estate, had to reduce rents by way of the covenant to rent to people who had a financial hardship or were just low income. But they also were renters and just decided, well, we need our money for other things right now during the pandemic versus rent. And so that rental cash flow just disappeared for a lot of those property owners. So our team developed the subsidized housing model because the housing subsidy travels with the person. So why invest in affordable housing and certainly subsidized housing? Why is that a good idea? Because in situations where it doesn't have to be a pandemic, a tenant cannot pay rent for whatever reason, a housing subsidy pays the rent for them. It's pretty much as simple as that. Plain and simple, really doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. It's a no-brainer. Now again, navigating that whole system is very challenging for people who've never worked with those subsidies. But equally, another question we get is, well, Stephen, I have renters who don't have a subsidy. It's not affordable housing, it's market rate, and they're about to be out on the street because they can't pay their rent and they don't have a subsidy. That is another thing our team specializes in helping developers, owners, investors with, is if they have tenants with those challenges, we help the tenant and the owner out by connecting with housing subsidies. So if you look at it that way, subsidized housing isn't necessarily a lifelong commitment put on your real estate. It is just the decision to utilize your real estate and make it available to people who are getting assistance. And I think after the pandemic and after all the craziness and restrictions that happened to landlords and investors during COVID, it's kind of a no-brainer why renting to people who have a housing subsidy is a good backup plan for when life happens and rents can't be paid. So that is a huge benefit to at least having some component of your portfolio protecting and open to renters using subsidized housing.